Hello, everyone. Recently, I heard about the Clean Energy Act, which is from the U.S. government. And finally, after 4 years or also kind of delay, they finally had some actions and really governmental actions about pushing renewable energy. Thank you very much. That's a good thing. But in this video, I want to say, okay, the difference between China and United States, and better say China and North America about the motivation. I want to talk about this topic for quite a long time, but well, if US is not doing anything, there's no meaning to talk about it. And now I can really talk about it with the thinking of say, okay, these two, China has been pro-renewable energy for a pretty long time. Now US is coming out and the fight is going on, really. So I want to talk about three aspects from start to bottom. The first one is actually the motivation. In the old days, it is really kind of a two-terminal situation. In China, the government is pro-renewable energy. They say, okay, we want to go renewable. We should do that. The high-end government is doing that, but the general public don't. The general public say, okay, EVs are the public say, okay, no, the government is very pro on renewable energy. They say we should have more solar, more wind. We should push more electric vehicles on the road. But the general public say, no, we don't want that. The public say charging is difficult. The value of the vehicle depreciate too much, etc., all those terms. A lot of general public just say, what's the meaning to me to push renewable energy? I don't care about it. Someone care, but I don't care. Well, for the excuse me. Well, for the North America, it's kind of reverse. The government is very slow on the action, while the general public say we want to go renewable, we want cheap electricity, we want cheap cars to drive, all those things. So, all in all, it's kind of like two terminals. But now you see the difference. U.S. government is kind of catching up, finally catching up. Say, okay, we are later in this progress, we need to catch up. And the incentives is quite large. I read there's something like 30% tax incentive all the way until renewable energy hit 50% of the carbon emission. Yeah, carbon emission, they use a very good point to say how much carbon emission we need to reduce, no matter what kind of energy. Fossil fuel, wind, solar, etc., all can be, but at least it need to be 25% or say 50% cleaner in comparison. I forgot that those details. I'm not going to talk about it. Well, but now Chinese public is also moving forward with more and more people driving EVs on the road. I do believe there's a lot of public ideas say how good EVs are. Etc. And the more people who drive it, the more of the knowledge will distribute. So the fighting is heating up. Really, in the motivation and public acceptance part. Okay, I'm back. Second is I want to talk about the technology. Yes, for the technology part, China is really leading the race in the battery sector. Yeah, we have the very complete supply chain. China has a very fast, rapid R&D and testing facility. And a lot of people, yes, a lot of people is now working in this field. Although this field is still very small, a lot of people are working on it. The con is really car culture. So China does not have the car culture. Many like whole car whole car company, they don't know how to make a good car, especially from the old days, which they make crappy cars, crappy EVs, and now you demand them to make premium electric cars, which surpass their gasoline counterparts and beat them down. It's, yeah, and they just don't have the experience. But all the US companies, they have a lot more experience on how to make cars. So I would say China is gaining on the battery side, the powertrain side, while US might take a lead on the whole car side. It all depends, right? But talking about the car itself is not enough. If you only talk about the car, you need to think about how you resupply the fuel. And if you think about resupply, you must think about charging stations. Just like for gasoline cars, we need to worry about gas stations. For electric cars, we need to care about charging stations. And although China saying have the most amount of charging stations in the world, their layout is not very ideal. Not only that, the layout is not very good, as well as say quite a few of them are actually out of service. You can find it on the map, but you go to a station, you will find them out of service, and you cannot even charge. And not talking about sometimes they are on the map, but then when you go there, there's nothing. It gets teared down or etc. like that. So that's also a problem, really. For EV, for United States, it's another story. For North America, although the fast charge is not that much, but there's a lot of slow chargers, and most slow chargers are actually free, especially when I was in Canada. So if I go to a nature scenery, I plug my car there, charge it. Yeah, and not talking about charging at home in North America is way easier than installing an EV charging station in China. And I shall talk about that even more into details because I'm going to install an EV charging station at home. Talking about all of these, I would say, yeah, the battle has just started. Both sides have their advantages and disadvantages. Who really benefit is our environment and our general public. We would have more choice, we would have more options, and we would have to see cheaper, better electric cars, cheaper, better lifestyle, yeah, cleaner air, quieter future. And I'm actually in the car dealer at this moment. I saw a lot of kids coming, and the salesperson truly told me what they really sell is EV. They no longer can sell gasoline cars. No one wants gasoline cars. Yeah, EV is the future, and the future is coming.